Welcome to Toffee TV. It's any other business. Now, if you've never seen this show before, it's because it's exclusive normally on Patreon. But this week we're just throwing everything on YouTube because Baz is not here to tell us off.
Oh, bean counter, Barry.
Yeah. Don't put that. Don't put it on Patreon. No, this is not a footy show. Can I just stress that? It's not like any other businesses in. We talk about anything other than Everton. This is simply not a footy show. Now, people seem to like it, and that's it. So we've got Paul Mason here from the Redmen TV, who knows stuff.
I like non-football stuff.
I love non-football stuff. In fact, I love it more than football stuff.
Listen, I've said this long. I've long said this. Things like comics and movies and TV shows, you can get your enjoyment from them, and they can't totally ruin your day by like having 11 idiots do something really stupid.
Although, you know, that the Avengers are expanding.
Well, yeah,
so, you know.
I mean, there's a possibility that Doctor Strange and Ant-Man might ruin it for everyone, but I mean, not the same way that, like, let's say Mario Balotelli has ruined a number of my days in recent years. You know.
Oh, I don't think Ant-Man could ruin anything. I like Ant-Man.
Just throwing it out there.
Doctor Strange I like Doctor Strange.
No, they're good, but they've yet to be in an Avengers film, so we just don't know.
Yeah. There you go. Let's talk Game of Thrones. Let's do it. If you haven't watched Game of Thrones, I'm not arsed.
You don't like Game of Thrones if you've not watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it by now, you do not like Game of Thrones. That's it. And I treat Game of Thrones like it is a football match. It's live. And if you haven't watched it when I've watched it, then that's your own fault. Yeah,
you put the same level of attention into that you did for the first season of the MLS show. Late nights staying up and reacting and
catches
live
up to it in the end.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't ruin it for anyone. But I mean, the finale.
So can we just clarify? Are we spoilers or no spoilers?
No, we're spoilers. I'm not asked. I can't do it without spoilers. But I won't be trying to be too spoilerific. But it is spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it and then come back and watch this video. But just make sure you watch this video. But come back. The finale. I mean, what are your thoughts on the shizzle that went down?
So yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of lumped the last two episodes in together, and it finally got to where it's been. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's got us to the gates of
hell,
of where it's always been leading to. And what's mad about it is this series in particular. It's like they've gone. The pacing of this series is mental.
Yeah, it is mad.
Mental. It's like the amount of times someone goes somewhere. So someone jogging goes to Westeros or whatever, and then the back in the next scene. Whereas every series prior to this, that's the fucking series.
Yeah.
That's them travelling for 10 episodes or whatever. And so it's moving along a bit of a clip, and as a result, it just feels like the most epic thing you've ever seen in your life. And bad dragons. That's
a bone of contention, because I think the whole premise of Game of Thrones is it was character building. It was getting to know everyone in it to the point where when someone died, you felt it like, and now I'm like, I don't want anyone to die because I love everyone who's been left.
You've lasted this long.
And so you built up all those relationships just by people having conversations with each other on the road most of the time. Just like it is like a one epic road thing. Stop, have a fight, then get off. And this season is just dispensed with all that, but in a way we don't need all that, and we've still got that at times. We had it last week when we had the when they were walking in like over beyond the wall, and it's like, you know, when Tormund speaking to the Hound, and we had it this week with the Hound speaking to Bernard Tarf and things like that, and just these relationships forming and people crossing paths you'd never crossed before, and they were very satisfying. But it's just whether we need all that talk again, because we've got so far. It's like we're getting to the tip of the.
No, you're right. I don't think you do. I think at this point it's just it's all payoff now. Effectively from now on in, I think we started this series, the last of it, as you say, having some of those like dream meetings of characters who've been in different parts of the world, or they've gone away for 7 years or whatever, and then they've met back up. They've met back up with each other, and so yeah, it is. It's. I don't think you'll get back to that. It does annoy me a little bit, because I do think, again, pacing wise, what's the point of having a 2 year break or whatever it is till the next series, when they could have paced this series the same as they have done the other ones, and drawn this out into 2 and just done a season every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've shot through this, and I think don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it because I think this is where The Walking Dead have gone tits up. Is again because they have a terrible concept of pacing in that show.
Too slow.
Too slow and then just too mad in too short bursts. So I'm kind of glad that we're not meandering through stuff anymore. But at the same time, given that if it's true that we're going to have to wait like the best part of a couple of years to finally see resolution, I'd rather. What's the point? I'd rather just
Although
slow it down.
I'm not bothered because I want them to get it right, and I want to make sure they get it right. I mean, this has been a series obviously that's not had the book in it. It feels like this. Well, what of issues I've read about or listened to is people feel like that George R. R. Martin has said, right, this has got to happen, this has got to happen, and this has got to happen. And if some people are saying, well, the dots have been hit, but how they've got there. So like the last episode, second to last episode, people are saying the dragon's going to be turned into the Night Walker's, the Night King's dragon. Basically, we're going to have to come up with some mad silly premise to create that, because a lot of people thought last week's episode, the second to last one, was utter garbage.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good, but people are saying, well, it was ridiculous. Why would you waste all that time and effort going to get this White to convince this evil woman when you could just simply just get one of your own dragons to just burn her house down?
No, I get it. I think that's it. There's always going to be that with it. I think the problem with it is that it was quite, when you think about it, it was quite silly in the, it was a very Hollywood, like these gang of cool dudes going. It was a bit like the Expendables, wasn't it? Like they go on a mission, and then the only person who could obviously saves them at the most dramatic level. The only thing it was missing was like a countdown and a bomb, and someone snips it with a second to go.
but with the countdown it's like 10 seconds, but then you still let a minute later and it's got like 7.
Exactly. So like I get why some people might have thought that was a bit cheap, because it was a bit on Game of Thrones, because normally when you set people up in situations of peril, they just get horribly murdered in that series. So I think, and this is the problem they've got, and I've seen a couple of situations. A good example of that is the bit with Jaime Lannister. He should just get burned to death by the dragon, because it was all set up now, but I think they're using that as a little trick now, because they're playing on your expectations that everyone's going to die, and then they're not, because they're saving them for one last round. There's going to be a Charge of the Light Brigade, Transformers the movie style moment where all the people you really like are going to be
Blackadder,
are going to be exactly, they're going to be horrendously killed.
See, I'm not sure about that, because I think loads will survive, but someone like one of the absolute top dogs is going to be killed. Like someone you're just going to go, oh my god. Because if they go, well, we're going to kill him, the Hound, Tormund, Bronn and all that, then you'll be like, oh, I didn't want them to die, but happy ever after at the top. I get the feeling it'll be like a one massive sacrifice at the top. Yeah,
there'll probably be a few out there. There's a couple. You've just got to have a bit of emotional investment. There's got to be some more, because you've got to sell how horrendous the dead are for one last time. You've got to have them kill someone you care about really horribly, and it gives that motive to give you that, because there's going to need to be. They've done it a couple of times whenever they've introduced them. There's that sense of utter hopelessness in the situation they face, of just how hard an enemy it is. And it's the bit where they first meet the dead, and they're legging it to get on boats, and they're firing the arrows, and just people are dying left, right, and centre. It's like, is it Jonathan gets away, and he's looking back like, and you're like, shit, the bed. This is going to be massive. There's going to have to be something like that in the next series, where it's going to have to be Podrick, or it's going to have to be someone or Sam. You know what I mean? Someone that you really like is going to have to finally die in the most horrendous way you can possibly imagine, because, you know why? Because Walking Dead, unfortunately, but because the way they've set it up.
I mean, obviously the big reveal happened. Well, not that one. I mean, more R and L equals J, which obviously they got to that. They got to the Tower of Joy. They give you the Tower of Joy in the last series. Was it last series? And so
the series.
I think it was the last series. And he instigated, the Bran having his flashbacks and seeing it, and that was like the big because the fans had like worked that out for ages. The ones who'd read the books, and then obviously in the last one they confirmed it after Gilly had done a little research in the book and all that. I mean, was that Was that too fan servicey, or was that just right? Because some people again saying, well, they've hit us over the head for so long. Why did they do the reveal? Why did it need to be like, here it is? Why didn't they just go, we know, you know, let's leave it at that?
Because I had to Google when the episode finished, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, brother and sister.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Because exactly, but it's auntie and uncle, so uncle and niece or something, isn't it? Fuck knows.
She's his auntie.
I thought he was her uncle.
No,
he's her uncle.
No, because his sister, his brother is his.
Okay, that's fine. They're cool. But here we go. There's your answer for you right there. The point is that there was that great joke, wasn't it, about Game of Thrones? Is that when the new series starts, and it's just the first episode is just every character walks up to camera and explains their name and who they are and where they're from to catch it up, because inevitably 10 episodes or whatever it is every year, I've got no idea what anyone's names are. I've got no idea what their houses are or whatever, apart from the genuine main characters. Yeah. Like, there's just the names are all too full. I need the names. I mean, if you're in the books, read the books, it'd probably be easy. I need the names written down in front of me, and I need to have a face next to it.
MTB.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, there comes a point where it's TV, isn't it? Yeah. You show, and it's better to show than to tell. But sometimes there's a rule of 3 in television and film. That if you want someone to know something, you've got to repeat it 3 times for it to sink in. So sometimes, if you've not got the time to do it 3 times, you've just got to be like, here's a piece of information, enjoy the information, this is what the information means. Some of us are a bit too thick to understand that, even if they are.
But there are hell of a lot. And I think that's why, now that we've come right to the tip of it, and I think for me, one of the reasons is I think for the whole people who are disappointed is because they do just want to live in this world, and they love all these characters to the point where they don't want to get to the point where like they want to see Cersei versus Jon, and they want all that. They want humans. So you bring these White Walkers into it, then suddenly it's like, oh, you've gone too far.
The point, I think the point of the whole series though is that all the human people have all got, I don't want to say redeeming qualities, but they've all got the motivations, and the motivations are true to themselves. And so and this is what humanity is. You're a hero of your own story, and so everyone all the main characters are all likeable in their own way, because they've done what they've done for their own reasons, and you've seen their reasons. So there will be people who think Cersei's boss, whereas she's the most evil of all. You know, when you consider the Joffreys and the Ramsay Boltons and all that, she's the most evil of them all, and yet you know why she's done what she's done. It's like you look at the first series of Daredevil, and the way they got you to genuinely understand why the Kingpin was what the Kingpin was, because they spent time to get to know the character, and that's why the people will want payoff and resolution of these things. But what you'll get to see, theoretically anyway, is if they all band together, they'll all get to be justified, they'll all get to be heroes. So every character you love will either get an amazing emotional payoff from success, or an heroic death that justifies where they've been, or redemption, or fucking whatever along the way, basically. But it would be nice just to see someone twat it around the head and take the throne.
I mean, there's obviously, I think she's almost like a victim of her own circumstances, but because she knows that there's like a curse on it, it's almost like she's playing it out. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and whether Jamie falls into it. Do you think they've left themselves too much to do?
Right there and then, it looks like it, but effectively, given how quickly everything's moved in that last series, you could literally start the next series with the dead at the doors of Winterfell.
Yeah.
And then it's just 7 episodes or whatever many they do, or whatever. It's just a constant war. It's just a battle for the next.
I just worry though, because they've left themselves with that war. They've left themselves with the is it the Golden Company coming over supposedly on boats to kill them and then you've got all the brand stuff that's going to have to be explored.
That needs to be fathomed out a bit more. But effectively, all that I think is all set up is everyone's going to go there. They're going to face it. They'll there'll be a few. They'll lose a couple of fights. They'll probably lose Winterfell, and then it'll end up in the one big battle, and it's been set up. Now the question I'll ask you actually, because I was asking my missus this, and my theory of some is that the Theon, who's obviously gone back to rescue his sister from the Iron Islands or whatever, he's primed to save the day.
Yeah.
All them ships come in with one lot more set of people, and they all come in, and they all that's the thing that tips the balance in their favour in the end. Now, that's the only thing I don't think they've got time for. Do they have time to tell the story of him rescuing his sister and winning his own thing back, or do they just cut to last episode, 15 minutes to go, the ships all come in?
Like in Return of the King, right? Remember the scene towards the end? It's not. It's the two tap. Well, there's a scene in.
I've not seen.
Have you not seen Lord of the Rings?
Because it was 3.5 fucking hours long, and I've got a chronic knee condition, which means
there's
that it was
torture. In the middle one. There's a scene we see all these ships, right? And you think they're the people coming to kill the heroes, and when they get there, it turns out somewhere along the line those ships have been taken over by the good guys, so actually it's been flipped. And I imagine it might be something like that. You think the other lunatic's going to come in with all this company, but it's not. It's Theon and his because he's managed to stop them, so I think that could happen. But again, I don't know. But
there's a lot of that. There are some things that it would be nice, and that would be the big disappointment, is if they get to the end of that series and you think, you could have told that story. You could have taken the time, done one more, and told that. Now I get it's a lot of commitment and there's a lot of time, and I forget how long it's been. I didn't even watch it the first series. I watched it on the first repeat, like 6 months after it came on. That's been a long time in everyone's lives, let alone the actors and stuff. So obviously, maybe that's a factor.
They've got to get it right though, because there's very few TV series recently where you go, that's amazing. I loved Lost, and it had a decent ending, but the last series was just it was just chaotic. The last series though, it was like if you weren't fully into it, the last series was just like, what the hell, time travel and different timelines and all this. But I loved it. I thought it was great. That had a brilliant end. The Wire, I think the last episode of The Wire, I think genuinely is one of the greatest pieces. I almost mourned those characters for days, not having them in my life.
They did this, so the equivalent for me was in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and they killed off Ultimate Peter Parker, and that was like, for most people, it's not the real Peter Parker. I'd read 150 issues over 15 years of this character, and they killed him, and I was like in bed reading this, and my wife said, like, turn the light off, or doing this, and I'm like, oh my god, you cannot fathom how emotionally distressed I am at this point. So totally.
But in that last Wire, when it was like they were showing you all the characters and where they were going to go in there, it was just like, that to me was just pushing it too far. But
I had the same with the OC as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. We won't be on next year, but what we will have is Westworld, which is just boss.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they sort that out, because that got a bit. It was dead clever in the end. I enjoyed it, but it still had a little bit of. The repetition thing was tough, because when you're watching the same shit over and over again.
That's a binge show. That now, if you go back and watch it all again, you'd appreciate it. But it's gonna be a long time. But I'm happy in a way that it is. They're gonna, and I just hope as well that I hope, number one, that there might be a book out by then. Yeah, and I hope George R.R. Martin has more to do with this series, because I think the writing suffered from not having his source material. Yeah. So I think if there's in the meantime, I know the scripts are supposed to be already being leaked, but there's plenty they can do on set if they've got him around. So I think especially to end it as well, I really think they need him a lot more involved. So hopefully will. But the fight of the century was this weekend. Did you watch it?
I set my alarm for 4ish in the morning, and I got up and watched it. I did. I can't believe that I did that.
Did you pay for it?
I paid for it as well.
I had a HD stream.
I was not going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and stress out about trying to find a stream. And by all accounts, it was the easiest thing to do. It was always going to be. But having tried to find footy on streams. It's just it ruins the experience. I hate watching Liverpool on stream because I can't enjoy.
Don't feel like you're watching it properly.
No, I know, and I can't. And again, I've just got this pervading fear of when it freezes and I've got to go searching for something else and it's all right. Nah, I can't stand it. It ruins the experience. I was like, nah, fuck it. It's 20 quid. Fuck it. It's a once in a lifetime experience. Go ahead.
Did you approach it as like a true sporting event? Because I know, because this is the thing, right? And I don't want to linger on this for too long, but I've seen people genuinely like, this is a joke and I've spent money on this. People pay a lot of money to watch wrestling pay-per-views and to go to cinema, and I suppose it's how you walk in there with what frame of mind you're in, isn't it?
The thing that I found really funny, but what I thought was probably the thing that could have tarnished the experience of it for me if I wasn't just an upbeat character, was how moany and bitchy the boxing guys were.
Oh, they were terrible. Oh my god!
Like you just like Carl Froch. Just shut up, mate. And like, because I've watched. I'm not a mad boxing aficionado or anything, but I've watched a lot of boxing in the years. I used to, when I was a kid, before Sky Box Office was a thing, like Friday or Saturday when I was a kid, I used to watch Nazim Hamed and Steve Collins and all that when they were coming up. I used to watch it religiously, and I've never heard commentators go on about like breathing or highlighting how fucked a fight it is, as they went to town trying to point out how terrible McGregor was at all turns. And it was like, and I get it, because they were trying to call, in their heads they're probably trying to call it like a proper boxing fight, and it was.
I didn't think they were though.
But I mean, by that they're trying to judge him. They feel they're trying to judge him by boxing standards, but in doing that, I felt they went too far.
What I hated about that, and that's probably the big point. Listen, he had the goal. Okay, probably maybe from like the 4th, 5th round onwards, Mayweather probably could have finished it, but he did say himself, I wanted to put a show on, almost like it was that Rocky 3 Thunderlips, we all have a hug afterwards kind of thing, which it was. But what I hated about it was, they were all there, earning money off that fight. They were in Vegas. You can't tell me that. And then had a nice few days in Vegas. And to be fair, it was mainly Froch, but I know Paulie Maginali or whatever his name was doing it on American TV, and he was doing the same thing. He's dead bitter because of what had happened in the sparring, and he was doing the same thing. And it was like, you've taken money to come and talk about this fight, and yet you're treating a man who's got into the ring with the best ever, and had a go at least, and sold the fight. I mean, this is the other thing I don't get with Diogo. He's done this and he said that, and you're like, yeah, he was selling the fight. Have you never seen his patter before? He's done it for every UFC fight. The difference is, in UFC, he's walking to a ring that he owns, but afterwards, like when he got beat by Nate Diaz and he walked down, he's just like, fella got me and done me, and he got me on the floor, and I should have done better, and fair play, and the best man won. And he did the same thing after this fight, and you're like, if he can do that after just being beaten, the man who's basically put everything on the line, if he can do that, why can't you just pay him that little bit of respect?
It's just that thing. I think for boxing people, UFC is the same as the WWF for them. And that's and to be fair, that's probably why I enjoy it, because I love the pageantry of the wrestling. I love the way, I love the scope and the scale and the story. It's not the fighting that you go there for, really, because most of it's a bit crap, isn't it? I love like wrestling these days. They're trying to bring in UFC terms, so they use terms like ground and pound in the wrestling. Like, are you kidding me?
And when they with the tap out stuff, they can buy JC Penney.
Yeah, exactly. You kidding me? Like with the complete absence of elbow strikes and all that, like. But yeah, I liked it for all that, and I think Mayweather likes that stuff, and obviously McGregor loves it, and it was having the UFC belts there, just so it just looked like a mad cross promotion. It reminded me, having just spent like the summer watching the Monday Night Wars series on the WWE network between the WCW WWF fight and how they finally won, and seeing like the crossover of that, it reminded me of that, and I enjoyed it for the spectacle and the experience. But ultimately, and because there was that outside hope that he might just land one solid dig and make it a really interesting contest. As it turned out, the best punch he threw was the one where he punched it and Mayweather didn't even flinch and it touches his nose, which is the funniest thing I've seen in my entire life.
It was brilliant. No, I mean, but I just thought that was awful from the likes of him. Some of them weren't like that. Some of them were very respectful for him. So at least but one, I mean, I don't know whether it was jealousy by Froch. You know, the man, he's made himself £100 million there simply by his mouth, by doing what by being a brilliant promoter and putting it in there. And it's quite interesting that I didn't see it, but something that happened in the wrestling on Monday night where Cena basically, I don't know if you've seen this, Cena basically got Roman Reigns in the ring, and it was like, you know, the pipe bomb that I think you did a few years ago where he
on What Culture?
No, he sat, what's his name, the fellow who's got
CM
Punk did the thing where he basically called them all out. Well, Cena done something similar on Monday night where he basically just had Roman Reigns off in the ring and was very, very, basically Reigns said, you should have retired by now, and Cena just basically said, I would have retired if you were any good. But he said other things, but it felt like that the McGregor thing had drifted into, you know,
it always does. Vince McMahon's amazing at that stuff. Like he like they had the one, was I can't remember, it was SummerSlam last year, or was it Survivor, whatever, one of the events last year when Brock Lesnar had a fight with Randy Orton, and he was properly laid into him. He cut his head open or whatever. They did that just to get people talking about it, because obviously people are so mad on the UFC. He's done that to capitalise on that stuff. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. The one thing about it though, about the experience of fighting, you're right, Mayweather probably could have had him done. Once he said he figured them out or whatever, he could have had that ended in 4 or 5 tops. Your McGuire, I always think of it like when you're playing footy and you know that you might not play footy for another week, or you might not play, you just want to have, we'll play our next goal to win it. Oh, go on, no, that doesn't count, we'll play another one. And he's obviously, I just think he got to the point and he was feeling good, and he was looking at it and he realised there was nothing left in the tank there, and he was like, this is my last fight. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just going to do what I do for the one final time. I'm gonna draw it out as long as I can, because I'm loving the experience of it. But
not in a horrible way either. Like in a way, almost like there was respect between the two fighters, and to say this lad has earned me a boatload of money, because let's be honest, he's the one who sold the fight. The hope that he might be able to knock him down. That's what sold the fight. It wasn't Mayweather's going to make it 50 wins.
Well, exactly, because you've seen McGregor lose already. There's nothing in seeing him lose again. You know what I mean? There's no like, I can't wait to see that little shit get his head kicked
exactly. In. So he's made the money. I think it was almost like, do you know what? I will let the pain suffer, but I'll let this carry on, and I'll finish it. But you know, this is fine. So. Just too many bad knobs. Just off the back of that, apparently that has creeped into the top 10 I'm trying to think of the word, box office sales of the year in terms of cinema.
Right.
So how bad must have cinema been over the summer if that's creeped into the top 10?
Yeah, cinema's been terrible this summer, I think, and to be honest, maybe it's because maybe the superhero thing's finally having its day, but I've enjoyed, I think Wonder Woman was excellent, and Spider-Man Homecoming has been my film of the year. I absolutely adore. I've seen that. I went to see that twice as well. But other than that, there's been very little. Baby Driver was good as well, but there's been very little that's made me think, ooh. Was like from my pre-kid days, I go to pictures every week over the summer or every fortnight, and then even when post-kids, I'd be looking jealously thinking, what am I sacrificing here to be able to go to you know what I mean? And I think there's Dunkirk's one I missed, which is probably the big film, and there was Logan, which I thought was great, but maybe because Logan wasn't a mega, you know, like a mega thing. If that had just been another X-Men film, it might have drew a bit more or whatever. But maybe there's just not been enough this summer for you to be asked.
I mean, Logan, I loved Logan. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I thought was brilliant.
You know what, I'm talking about my arse. There's been loads of good
stuff. Maybe it's not that they've. I don't know what's happened then, because there has been good films. War for the Planet of the Apes, probably the best film I've seen this year. It was absolutely. I know you haven't seen the second one, have you? No. Absolutely brilliant film. Like properly cared about all the characters, and the same in like Dunkirk as well. And I just wonder what's happened to the. Because there was a big move to get people back into the cinemas, and there was the 3D thing that seems now to have run its course, and I don't think we'll see that happening again. But I wonder why have people now just decided, you know what, I'd rather just wait.
There's just too much stuff, isn't there? It's too easy to get stuff online. How do you convince people to pay? It's just cost too much money.
Is that what you think it is?
Too much frigging money. You know, you want to take two of you out and this is the perils of being married, of course, is that you have to pay for 2 years every time you do stuff. You're talking for 2 tickets and a big popcorn, a couple of drinks, and a bag of sweets. You're talking 40-50 quid.
Go the Aldi first, mate.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, but popcorn's not the same, is it? Like, it's that's a sneaky fucking vat of popcorn in. But the and your ice blasts, Tango ice blasts. You know what I mean? You got to get anyway.
We have very different. I got the Costa. I just had the Costa.
Yeah, but but this it cost a fucking fortune. I talked to the lads in the office, and that's the difference is, of course, is that when I was younger, it was the pictures, and then you had to wait. It was like a year before you got something on video on Blockbuster or the Ritz or whatever, to get it a year or so, and it'd be 2 years before you maybe even got it on Sky. Whereas now I'm looking at it, and I've got Now TV on, which is equivalent to Sky Movies, and I'm like, we took me lad to see Disney Cars 3, and I'm like, when's that going to be on Sky? That'll be out on DVD before Christmas, and it'll be on Sky in the start of the new year. Oh, it sounds like,
it's 13 weeks, I think now, isn't it, from pictures to DVD? But you're right. I mean, I think the price is one thing. I mean, to go and see something, if you go and see it on, I always go with the IMAX. I'm a bit of a snob, but I love IMAX. So IMAX, I think, is like 18 quid each.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? That's ridiculous.
Bear in mind though, but the last time I went to IMAX, I didn't even realise there was an IMAX in Liverpool. I had to go to Manchester, so I went to see. I saw Watchmen. I want to say Avatar. I saw The Dark Knight. On IMAX, which is amazing, by the way. But yeah, exactly, it's Lucas. But I talked to the lads in the office who were like in their early 20s, and they just don't go to pictures because why would they? Because again, you could go out on the lash for the whole weekends for the same amount of money that you can go to the pictures for and just watch it at home, and it means they're missing out on the experience. But we never had that choice. Back in my day.
£2.
Yeah,
Allerton Road cinema.
Exactly.
Whatever was on.
Missed that pictures.
Whatever was on. I think I went to see a walk through the clouds or whatever it was called with Keanu Reeves.
Go ahead.
Terrible film, but you know what? I was about 14 and there was probably birds in there.
I probably went to see, like, While You Were Sleeping or something with Sandra Bullock, and that might have been Edge Lane. Also,
there's a lot of, but I think, and just finally, I think the after problem is though there's so much crap. Like, they keep on, like, they're making films that no one wants, like The Mummy. Why did they feel like they have to make a dark universal?
Because Tom Cruise.
Okay. Well, yeah.
No, I know, because everyone's seen the success of Marvel and thought, I'll have a bit of that. That sounds good to us. Everyone's got to have an interconnected cinematic universe because that's the future. It's not. It's just worked really well for Marvel, and if they do it right, it'll work really well for DC because these characters already have been proven to work well in an interconnected universe. Those universes have been going in some instances for 80 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's tried and tested. No one gives a fuck about The Mummy. No one gives a fuck about Frankenstein. No one gives a fuck about Tarzan. No one gives a fuck about all these things. Pack it in. Go home. You spend that money on some original films, or, you know, make better reboots.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You just mentioned something like Baby Driver. Those films are not expensive to make. Even, like, decent CGI films are not that expensive to make now because the technology is all there. It's just the fact that they have to get these actors to dress up in these films and make a big spectacle of them because there's no story in the middle of it, and you just think, what are you doing? Just save us something that is, you know. I look at Planet of the Apes might be the one that's the one where you go, well, actually, because when the first one came out I was a bit like, not sure about this, but over the 3 films, it's gradually just got so much better. I
enjoyed the first one, like, but it's probably one of the few, isn't it? But then again, it's just another franchise brought back on. You know, I mean, to be fair, Tim Burton's one tried its best to kill the franchise off, like, but you know, it had brand recognition, didn't it? So you had something there already. But there's not a great number of examples of things that are coming from nowhere anymore.
I think the big problem is though,
where's the new Back to the Future?
I don't want the new Back to the Future.
No, I don't mean Back to the Future Part 4, which I do want, by the way. I mean, Back to the Future, there's a film that comes out that is just incredible, and it spawns a trilogy.
Ready Player One.
Yeah,
have you seen the trailer for that?
I haven't seen the trailer for that.
Have you not seen the trailer for that?
No, I've got the.
Oh my god, go and watch the trailer.
I haven't even read the book yet.
I'm not going to read the book now.
Oh shit.
because the film's coming.
On. Okay.
But but watch the trailer, you will just go, this is everything about me. I think the biggest problem is well, Michael Bay is the biggest problem. He's making absolute dross, getting close to billions because Chinese people seem to like fighting robots. Fair enough, and that is distorting the market because people are just going, let's make shit and make loads of money, and it's just like only Michael Bay can make absolute shit and earn loads of money. It's mad.
Yeah, they'll do that spin-off. They'll do those spin-off movies though, and they'll do fuck all, and then that'll be the end of that, won't it?
Hopefully.
But I think the last thought on it though is just the Netflix box sets. Television's become so good, and it's so much more epic and so much more detailed and so much more character driven now that there's better stuff being made on telly, and all the best actors are now working in telly as well.
There's no shame in it anymore.
Exactly. Look at the first series of True Detective anyway. You know, that is the level of depth and detail and again the character acting that went into that's cinema level quality, and that's happening now. And now you've got a choice between, you know, go out, you can go out and pay 50 quid and got to take your bird out to sit in a room and not talk, or you can Netflix and chill and maybe get touched.
I mean, it's gone full circle because films, you get an hour and a half, maybe 2, okay, 3 for some of them, to try and get all this character detail in some terms onto the screen, whereas Game of Thrones has had 60 hours for you to develop a character that you know the ins and outs of, and you either absolutely love them or you absolutely hate them, and that's where TV now is king for me.
And or you're saying we're going to manufacture a trilogy, and so we're spreading it out over 3, which is massively dissatisfying unless you're already bought into it. A la Star Wars as an example. I can deal with not seeing Luke Skywalker for more than 3 seconds because I know I'm going to get him in the next film. I know I'm going to get him in the next film, but that doesn't work in cinema because you just don't go. You don't go and you wouldn't go the next film and so on.
You're banking on the first one being successful.
You can try TV shows, and you've only given up 2 hours of your life, and if you don't like it, then you can move on to something else effectively, can't you? Fixed it.
There you have. We've sorted it all out, and we've give you everything you want to know, or maybe didn't want to know, and that's what we do here on Any Other Business. If we're not talking about films, we're talking about meteorites, Nazi gold, and dinosaurs. Effectively, I mean that seems to be the golden three, the triangle. We've missed out a story about the world ending on September 21st or 23rd.
We'll try and get that in before.
We'll get that in next week beforehand. The fella who's said that has got a book out. I don't know how well that's going to do. Thanks for joining us. If you like this and you like what we're doing, check us out on Patreon. Thanks to Paul. He's wearing a Rick and Morty t-shirt. What more can we say? And we didn't even talk about Rick and Morty. Thanks for watching Toffee TV, and I'll see you later.